Let's craft some cave tiles and some cave scatter terrain on this episode of Franky D Crafter. Welcome to another episode. In the future, I want to actually run you through how I make my encounters or how I run my table, and to do that, I need to set up some building blocks, or in this case, building tiles, you know what I'm talking about. We're gonna jump right into this one, but if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that, hit that bell icon, and don't forget to like if you enjoy what I make here on the channel. Let's get started. I already have cliff terrain that I could use, but I want to make this project accessible for people around the world. And I know foam isn't the best material when it comes to accessibility. I'm going to be making these out of cardboard. And we're gonna be doubling it up. Right from the start, I knew I didn't want these tiles to be square. I made them roundish. Some of the corners aren't actually rounded off. This is done on purpose. This is just in case I actually want to connect them. Like always, I make a good amount of them. I make about 10 or so, in all shapes and sizes. To texture these tiles, I use caulk and sand just like I did on my previous video. I make sure to cover the sides, as many of you mentioned how that was an issue on the previous tile video. Although I did make them that way to show that you don't need perfect tiles if you're in a rush to get a game going. I start the primer and add a white dry brush. And begin to paint. I prep my paint for the cave with a cool gray. The wall of the dungeon can be implied, or you can tell your players that the space between the tiles is a drop, as if they were standing on stone pillars. I dirty up the tiles a bit and move on to some more terrain. The players will be using the roots of the tree above the cave to move around the stone pillars. To make these, we'll start off by rolling up aluminum. Make sure that the surface is playable. I like my minis to actually be able to rest on top of my terrain. I add a bit of texture using my hot glue gun. My biggest fear at this point is that when I'm done painting these, they're gonna come out looking like poop. We'll see. I make a few different roots in different poses and shapes and stuff, and you know what I'm talking about. I cover the roots with some PVA glue to make sure that my paint sticks to the aluminum. I primer them using black and start to paint them. This is the moment of truth. Will this look like poop when I paint it brown? Maybe with a dry brush, I can get away from that thought. Or so I thought. Stop thinking about poop, I said to myself, especially as I add this brown wash. Let's base some of this poop. We want to make this base a little bit heavy to make sure it can hold the craft. I use actual pebbles from outside. They are small enough to look proportional, yet heavy enough to balance the whole thing. Then we use ground mix to cover up the cardboard and get rid of any evidence that this is cardboard. While we are here, we should definitely craft some pile of rocks for reasons I'll get into in the next episode. This will look great as scatter terrain. Using the same colors from the tiles, I paint up the bases for the roots. Dry brushing these rocks was very satisfying, as I was able to pick up a lot of texture from them. I think we can stop here and pick up on the next episode. I'll be putting a table together using crafts from the channel. I know this wasn't as exciting as some of the other crafts, but they are just as necessary. It's these builds that bring it all together. Keep an eye out for the next episode for the big payoff. Like always, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!